In this tutorial we will exhibit the use of mixed addresses and absolute and relative addresses, and also the use of basic functions. So what we have here is a project appraisal. Let's say you have 100,000 euros in your pocket right now, you want to invest them. So you find an investment that is described by this table. This is another, which is going to be processed the same way. So let's focus into the table to the left. You will invest 1,000 euros, hence minus 1,000, since your pocket now is minus 1,000 because you placed your money on your investment and your investment is positive. And the deal is that after 1 year you will receive back 60,000 euros or return on your investment, and in the final year you will receive 55,000 euros as a return on your investment. So for the first year you have your money in, so you are minus, and for the second and third year you are receiving returns on your investment, which totals to 115,000 euros. And that, with the first look, looks like it's good, since you are going to receive after 3 years 15,000 euros more than the amount of money that you have deposited right now. However, although this seems on a first glance that it is a good investment, you don't know what would happen if you were investing your money in an alternative investment. Say, for example, place your money for 3 years in a closed account in a bank with an interest rate of 4%. So if, let's say, this gives you more money after 3 years as a total, then maybe investing your money, placing your money in your bank, which is also considered a low-risk investment, might be a better investment. So let's find that out. Now, to find that out, we need to use a formula called discount factor, which is going to be placed in D7, and it's described by this financial formula here. So what we need to do is convert what we see, the financial formula tells us, into what the Excel understands as a formula. So applying the first rule of Excel, we put the equal sign, and then, as the financial formula indicated here says, parentheses, 1 plus, all is the same for the time being, and here it says I. So we check at the legend here and we see I is the discount rate. Therefore, instead of I, applying the second rule of Excel, we place the cell that contains the value of I, which is this one, and here we need to think that particular formula will be copied down. So D4 will change to D5, D6, so D4 should not change because the discount rate is always in D4. But we also need to think that we will copy these formulas here to this table here, so we have results for the second project without needing to type the formulas again. So we want D to change into I when the formula containing it is copied here. So in this sense, the appropriate addressing would be D$4, D relative, 4 absolute. 4 should not change, D should change when we copy the formula. Now, according to the financial formula here, we close the parentheses, and then we need to raise it to the negative year, so we put the Indian hat, which is a symbol for raising something to a power in Excel, and then minus for the sign of the year here, and then applying the second rule of Excel, we click on the year on B7, which contains the year that we need for this formula. Here the year should be relative, full relative. Why? Because when we copy it down, we want B7 to change to B8, B9, and adjust to the new years. And when we copy this formula to this project, we want B7 to change to G7, which is the corresponding years in this table. So we press enter, and the result is 1.4 zeros. It's not 10,000, it's 1.000. We need the precision here, because as you can observe, it will give us high precision results. Now, the next thing we need to do is calculate this formula here. So this is given by this simple financial formula. So again, we use the rules of Excel and we replace the financial formula to the corresponding cells on our spreadsheet based on the first and second rule. So cash flow refers to this cell here, times discount factor, which refers to the number we found there, and all addresses will be full relative, since we want them to change when we copy them down, also to change when we copy them to the right. So we press enter, so that is minus 100, and we drag it down to get the corresponding results here. Now, the net present value is given by this financial formula. Don't be scared by this sigma symbol here. It's just the mathematical symbol for the sum. And considering that we don't want to actually add this to that, because if it was like we had the need to add much bigger number of cells here, then we would write a far bigger formula that possibly could not fit in the size that we have available by Excel. We would use the sum function. Now you can either type the sum function by applying the rules of Excel, so you have again to start with an equal sign, or use this button here, which is the auto sum button. Also, if you use the arrow, you see that you have the ability to use it with other basic functions, but we are going to use the sum function here, and Excel by default selects the nearby range. However, always check, because in many cases you don't want to include in your sum a nearby range but something else, and in many cases Excel does not select the correct range. Now in our example, Excel has selected the correct range, so basically it has done exactly the same that with what we would do if we would have in this formula. So sum parenthesis from the range that begins in E7 column, which means up to, so E7 up to, E9 is the range that is going to be summed up. And we observe that we have a positive NPV, indicating that actually this project that we have selected, that is this return on investment, is better than placing our money in our bank, since at the same time that we will be receiving 60,000 euros, we will be receiving 57,000 euros, and at the same time we will be receiving 55,000 euros with this project, we will be receiving 50 point something. So basically our project yields 8,542 euros more than what it would actually return if it was invested in the bank. Of course, probably this is a higher risk investment, which we also need to consider than placing the money in the bank. The thing we need to do now is actually select this range and paste it in the corresponding range to the target, and we have results for the second case as well, which you observe is not so good as the first one, since the NPV is higher here and lower there.